In lesson 8.3, we're going to look at solutions of quadratic equations. So we're going to find out how to determine how many solutions there are to a quadratic equation without having to solve the entire problem. And also we're going to look at what we can do if we are given the solutions. We can write our quadratic equation from those solutions. So the first thing we're going to do is determine how many solutions exist. So that means that we need to first talk about the discriminant. The discriminant is the part of the quadratic formula that is under the radical sign. So if you remember our quadratic equation from yesterday, it was that x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. So the discriminant is just this part underneath the radical sign. So that's what we're really going to focus our attention on today, is just b squared minus 4ac. With this part of the formula, we can determine how many solutions we're going to have for any quadratic equation. For one solution, if this discriminant equals 0, then there's going to be one solution. If the discriminant is greater than 0, then we're going to have two real solutions. And if it's less than 0, we're going to have two imaginary solutions. So basically you can determine this by just solving b squared minus 4ac. If it equals 0, you've got one solution. If b squared minus 4ac equals a positive number, then you're going to have two real solutions. And if b squared minus 4ac equals a negative number, you know you're going to have two imaginary solutions. So let's look at an example. How many solutions exist? If you are asked this question, do not find the solutions unless asked to. Just find the number of solutions that exist. So I'm not asking you, what does x equal? No, do not solve that. All I'm asking is how many solutions exist. So all you need to do is plug in your values to the discriminant. The discriminant, remember, is b squared minus 4ac. Once again, we need to know our values for b, a, and c. Oops, a equals, b equals, and c equals. So a equals 4, b equals negative 9, and c equals 2. Now you're just going to plug those values into the discriminant. So we've got b squared, so it's negative 9 squared minus 4 times 4 times 2 equals negative 9 squared is 81 minus 4 times 4 is 16 times 2 is 32. 81 minus 32 equals, we don't even have to do this math to know it's positive, but 81 minus 32 equals 49. All that we really care about, though, is that this is a positive value. So if you could tell that from here, great, you're done. Positive value means that there are two real solutions. And that's it. You've answered the question. Alright, so how about writing equations from solutions? If you have the solutions, then you can write the original quadratic equation by using these three steps. First, you're going to plug the solutions into x minus blank and x minus blank. Then you're going to FOIL or use the box method, your preference. And then you're going to combine like terms to write a final equation. One important thing to remember is that if you have one solution, you're going to plug that into both sets of parentheses, and we'll look at an example later on. So let's give this a try. Given these solutions, write an equation. So I'm going to plug these values into x minus blank. My first blank is 0, and x minus blank, my second blank, is 1/5. So now we're just going to use FOIL or the box method. You guys all know I prefer the box method, so I'm going to do that over here. We get x times negative 0, or x minus 0, sorry, not times, over here, and x minus 1/5 over here. Here we get x squared, here we get negative 1/5 x, and x times 0 is 0, negative 1/5 times 0 is also 0. Now we just add these terms together. X squared minus 1/5 x plus 0 plus 0. We don't have to do anything with those. That's it. This is our quadratic equation. To make it an equation, we do need equals 0 at the end. So this was the original quadratic equation for these given solutions. Let's look at another example. Here we are given the solutions plus and minus 3 radical 2. So this means we have 3 radical 2, and we also have negative 3 radical 2. Remember, we can always rewrite this into two different values. So we're going to plug this into, for step 1, plug it into x minus and x minus. So the first one I'm going to put in is x minus 3 radical 2. And then the second one I'm going to put in is negative 3 radical 2. Be very careful that if you have a negative sign, you put that in there, because that's going to change this to a positive. So I'm going to rewrite it as x minus 3 radical 2, x plus 3 radical 2. Second step is box method or FOIL. I'm going to use the box method. X negative 3 radical 2 and x 3 radical 2. We get x squared. Here we get 3x radical 2 when we multiply 3 radical 2 times x. That's what we get. Here we get negative 3x radical 2. And down here we get 3, I'm going to write it out. We have 3 times 3 times 2 times 2. Oh, and there's a negative for one of them, so one of those is a negative 3. Simplified, this becomes 3 times negative 3. Ooh, that's a really bad 3. Hold on. Times radical 3 times, and the square root of 2 times 2, which is 2. So, simplified, it's negative 9 times 2, negative 18. Okay, I always write this out because otherwise it's really, really easy to make a mistake. Now we're going to combine the terms here. So we get, that's step 3, combine like terms. Okay, sometimes it's easiest to write out the whole thing first, otherwise people make mistakes. I saw it a lot on the last test. X squared minus 3x radical 2 plus, coming down here, 3x radical 2 minus 18. Well, luckily, these two terms cancel out because it's a negative and a positive of the same thing. So that means we're left with x squared minus 18 equals 0. And that is our final answer when asked to write an equation. Alright, let's look at one more example. This example has only a single solution. If you go back to here, you can see that I said if you have one solution, you just plug it into both parentheses. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Here's our parentheses. X minus times x minus, and we have the solution 6. So we're going to plug it into both. Step 1. Step 2. Box method or FOIL, your choice. X minus 6, x minus 6. We get x squared here, negative 6x here, negative 6x here, and then negative 6 times negative 6 is a positive 36. Write this out with all the terms. X squared minus 6x plus 36. And our final step, combine like terms. Here are only like terms, so I'm going to write x squared minus 12x plus 36 equals 0. There is our final answer, the quadratic equation that we can write with our single solution. That's it.